Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Siege of Avalon. We've got to explore these catacombs, so we're going to go ahead and get started on that. As you can see, it seems to be some sort of cave system, and if we explore into it a little bit, there seems to be these creatures inside of it called cave lurkers, and they're rather hostile. So they're going to be one of the main enemies we're going to be fighting for this part of the game. And they're rather fast, and they hit rather hard, and they have quite a lot of hit points. They can give you quite a lot of trouble if you're not careful. Fortunately, they're fairly susceptible to our usual fireball, so we're going to go ahead and stick to that tactic. But as you can see, they tend to clump upon you, and they tend to be, because of the mechanics of the game, they tend to be a bit hard to hit as they're running towards you. So quite often you have to kill them as they're standing next to you, which can be quite problematic, but if you're lucky you might be able to pick them off before they can get too close. This area in particular causes a lot of trouble for scouts. These enemies seem to have a very high perception rating. They can be very hard to use your sneak attack on, so proceed with caution. Fortunately, the only statistic that matters to the scout is his stealth, so that's the only one he has to put points into. So he's a bit better off in that regard. If we go back here, we see another abuse of the graphics system. They've hidden the chest behind these stalagmites and stalactites. And if you open it up, there's two items in here: Iron Fist of Orium, which is a morning star. It's not too bad, and it sells for a lot, so we'll take it. And a gold ring that doesn't do anything, but it's worth a bit of money, so we'll take that as well. Heading up here, we reach a dead end at one last enemy. We'll go ahead and kill him. These earth golems aren't too difficult either. They're a bit easier than the cave lurkers, but rather annoying as well. Both of them give you about equal trouble if you're a scout. I think the cave lurkers are probably more difficult for the scout than the rock golems, but both of them are quite a bit of a problem. Warrior has a bit of trouble here too. It's quite a ramp up in the difficulty of the enemies. They hit a lot harder, and they're a lot harder to kill themselves. They also move and attack a lot faster, and they seem to have better AI than the enemies in the village that we were fighting earlier. They tend to attack right away. They don't stand around as much and do nothing, and give us plenty of opportunity to kill them preemptively. And they also tend to come in packs rather than just by themselves. As you can see, this one's ganging up on us with his friend. Anyway, fortunately we still have that heal spell, and at this point it heals quite a lot of health for us, so that's not too big of a deal. And we still have our fireball, of course, and seems to be handling these guys fairly well. It'd be nice if it did a bit more damage, but we're going to try to save up our training points and invest them in that special training we saw earlier. And if we check our map, we can see we've explored quite a bit already, but there seems to be quite a bit still remaining, so we're going to keep on going. Hopefully find everything there is to find. And unfortunately, this particular area of the game has quite a lot of those hidden chests behind the stalagmites. So we're going to have to be looking for those. Hopefully I'll find them all. Don't know if I will, but only one of them has anything of particular importance, I believe, and I'll definitely be grabbing that one. If we go over here, there seems to be a gate leading outside, and a man named Weldon. Wassian asked us to talk to him to let him know that his relief is on the way. He seems to be guarding this gate. And if we talk to him, we'll find out that he doesn't actually have the key and can't let us through the gate even if we wanted to go through there. So that's rather interesting, because the courier was supposed to be passing through here, and the guard there mentions that he hasn't seen anyone go through. So that's a bit suspicious. The courier was supposed to go through here, so obviously he's still down around here somewhere. And here's another chest. Not much in here. I believe there's one more chest around here somewhere. Might be two. There's more regions to this chapter, obviously, and I think there might be yet more hidden chests. Be sure to grab the one that's important. I'll try to check as many of these as I can. Hopefully I won't miss one. None of it's really all too important anyway. You mostly just sell the items you find. And after this chapter, gold isn't all that important. But there's one part of this chapter that gives you a lot of gold, and you can stock up on that quite easily. And one thing you do have to be sure of is if you're a mage, I believe you need to have... Actually, I think it's true in general for any class. You need to have 1,000 golden crowns by the end of the game. There's one item you need to purchase that costs 1,000 golden crowns, so if you happen to be playing through this game as you're watching these videos, be sure to at least have some way to get 1,000 gold by the end of the game. It shouldn't be too much of a problem, actually. I think if you just check the corpses of a lot of your enemies as you go through. They'll all be carrying a small amount of gold on them, and they'll each individually, I believe, give you enough altogether to get you what you need. So anyway, heading over here, we find that seems to have been a battle here. There's a number of Shaohul sitting around. We check their corpses. They don't seem to have very much of interest, and it seems they were fighting a knight of some kind, and he's just standing in the middle here. Let's go ahead and click on him and see what he has. Oh, he has some nice armor and a sword, and then he has a signet ring. This is actually the item of that fetch quest I told you I missed before, so we've now actually sort of completed that. We just need to bring it back to Avalon to the person who wants it. And you'd have found out about this quest if you talked to everybody. I obviously didn't go around talking to all the NPCs because, well, that would have been a waste of time. Most of them don't have anything interesting to say. And I missed the one quest giver, but it doesn't really matter if you complete the quest before you get it. You'll still get the experience points for it, and it'll still get logged and everything. So no big deal there. And oh, I almost died there. That was rather close, so I'm going to go ahead and heal up. Still, this game isn't too challenging just yet. It won't become too challenging until a bit later on, I don't think. It's also become less time consuming because we're able to recharge mana at a much more reasonable rate. It's not taking forever like it was before. Unfortunately, we still aren't very good with our aiming or the hit detection, but I suppose there's nothing we can really do about that. Anyway, here we find that there's 2 cave entrances. Don't worry, they all lead to the same area, so we don't really need to explore a whole bunch of different places. They all end up winding up in the same place, and we save a lot of time that way, fortunately. So if you check our map, we're just about done with this region. There only seems to be about 2 areas left we haven't explored on this particular part of the chapter. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And take the next dungeon fork. I believe this is the one. Here we go. Go up here, we find, oh, it's that courier from earlier. He doesn't seem to be couriering, though. So I'm going to go ahead and talk to him. And he seems to be a trader. There seems to be a lot of these floating around. So we kill him, check his stuff. He doesn't have much of interest. Just the letter to King Vortigern that was sent from General Roth. We're going to go ahead and take that. So Roth is probably going to want that back now that we've reclaimed it from his treacherous claws. And we're going to continue on to explore the last little area of the map. Hopefully it's not too long or too dangerous. And let's see. I believe there's another chest around here somewhere. Hopefully we'll find it. If there isn't, that's no big loss, I suppose. I think it just has a ring inside of it that you can sell. I'm not sure on that exactly, though. We'll find out in a moment. As you can see, the AI still isn't that great. They tend to not be too clever in certain situations. They'll just stand there and die as opposed to actually fighting you. The warrior can't really take advantage of that. They tend to be a lot smarter when you run up to them and just start hitting them. So the warrior gets a bit shafted in that sense, but I suppose it's not really intended that they just stand around and do nothing while you attack them. Anyway, we're going to try to wrap up this area as quickly as we can. Hopefully there's not too much of it left. A few more cave lurkers. Not too bad. And one over here. Another problem with the game is that quite often the initial attack that you do right off the bat won't detect properly, or they'll take the hit and then they'll immediately be healed fully for some reason. I'm not sure why it does that. I think it's some kind of glitch. I don't know what it is exactly. But it's very irritating, especially with a scout who relies on killing his enemy in the first or second hit. When the first one hits and simply does nothing, that's a bit, well, it's not helpful, I'll say that, to say the least. And it's very irritating, certainly. So, fortunately that's not too much of a trouble with us, since each of our attacks does equal damage. We don't really care which one of them does it. It's just sort of irritating that we have hit an enemy and really should have killed him, but he's remained alive for some reason. But anyway, not too big of a deal. Seems to be one last enemy left. I'm going to go ahead and kill him, which is good because we're almost out of hit points anyway. But we seem to have finished off this area. The map's now fully explored. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up this video now, and I'll see you next time.